everyone. So we thought we would talk about how to not binge on foods. And basically, many people will eat possibly the wrong kinds of foods, or they'll be too strict in the mindset, and then they'll sort of binge out on foods, or they'll not eat enough, or they'll not have enough nutrients, or whatever. They'll basically be doing things wrong. And then I've even seen it where people have said that they were eating well during the week, and then they were like whole foods and like really clean and everything, and then at weekend they were eating cakes, cookies, and things like that. Like, so you need to basically replace these things that you're craving with whole foods. So for example, what do we have for breakfast every day?
Oh my gosh, every day we have something very, very similar. Our oatmeal recipe, where we include our rolled oats. We have either golden or black raisins, and then we have some crushed peanuts. But to make it different every single day, as most of you see my What I Ate Today videos, we either add different flavorings like cinnamon, cocoa powder, and different vanilla drops or English toffee drops, and it gives it that different flavor, that texture, and it's really, really sweet, it's really satisfying, and it's nutritious too. But not just the oatmeal. On top of that, Craig has been obsessed with banana ice cream, so I've been making that a lot lately. So we have our frozen apple bananas, we blend that up with the English toffee drops or the cocoa powder, and we put all of that together in a meal. And if you think of what that stuff is made out of, it's plants, it's whole foods, it's fruits, it's whole grains, it's nuts, and it's a bunch of those wonderful foods put together. So it's extremely nutritious, and it's sweet, and it's delicious, and it's satisfying, and I've named a few of the recipes as like chocolate cake kind of thing, because that's or apple pie we talked about, because that's what it reminds us of. So eating, recreating these recipes or these meals or these foods that you had before that were really bad, or they're processed, or they're refined, or they're just plain old unhealthy for you, you can recreate them as whole foods, and you can make them enjoyable, you can make them satisfying, so you don't have that feeling of wanting to give in to those cravings, or that those feelings that you'd want to eat those bad foods, and then which would lead to binges, because you'd be restricting yourself so much to the point where you get to this place where you're like, you can't handle it anymore, and then all of a sudden you see it, one cookie on the countertop. One cookie leads to the whole bag of cookies, right? Because you just can't stop.
That's it. Like, I remember one thing that when I first started sort of healthy eating, with the whole foods sort of thing, I remember sometimes I would crave like ice cream and stuff, and obviously there's vegan ice creams out there, but they're still not healthy, they're still not good for you. So I remember then just making ice cream out of bananas, I would just make that, and I'd add like cocoa powder to it, I'd add vanilla drops or whatever flavour I liked. I remember adding spinach to it one day, and then mint drops, and then little sort of chocolate, dark chocolate chips and stuff, and then it was just like mint ice cream. And then I remember adding chocolate. I used to like to have chocolate, strawberry and vanilla, and then that would be nice. I remember that from my childhood, having like Neapolitan ice cream, as you call it, at least in the UK. And then there's things like that. So, and then you can even go as far as making your own potato chips. There's things that cut them finely, and then there's like air fryers, there's baking them in the oven, there's things like, you don't have to use oil, or you can use minimal oil or whatever, a sprinkle of salt versus a whole bag of salt, and there's so many options that you can go for to make things healthy. And then you don't even have to call it a binge, because it's not even like you're binging, you're just eating healthy foods, you're just having a snack of healthy food, so you don't need to feel bad for that. And then there's fruit as well. Fruit's always good for a snack, if you feel like you're a bit peckish or whatever, just have a few bananas or apples or oranges or whatever.
So that leads me to the other reason as to why people would lead or get to a binge, or feel like they would need to binge, is because they're restricting themselves. Not only restricting themselves of the foods that they used to enjoy or that they want, but they're also restricting their caloric intake. Yeah. And if you cut down on the amount of calories or energy that your body requires or that you need, eventually you're going to get to a place where your body's like, holy shit, I need food, just give me any type of food. And of course, if you get to that place, you're going to go for the bad foods. You're not going to reach for the apple or the banana or some whole grains in your fridge. You're not going to reach for that. You're going to want to go for the shitty
most
foods.
energy dense foods.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, at the end of the day, like the easiest ways to stop binges and stuff like that is to just go in prepared. You know, I mean, if you can help it, you know, try not to have these things in the cupboard laying around. But if you can't, obviously, if you live with family who aren't necessarily on the same sort of plan as you, then have your sort of healthy but have your healthy but sort of and nice tasting snacks on hand. You know, have your frozen bananas in the freezer just ready, just to make some nice ice cream, you know, chocolate ice cream or whatever. Have the cocoa powder ready, you know, have the potatoes in the cupboard ready to make some no fat potato chips or whatever, you know, and you can season them with whatever, and you know, they could be just like almost like eating Doritos or whatever, but healthy, and you don't need to feel guilty for them. So, but yeah, the main thing we both said is to not restrict. If you restrict anything, your body's eventually going to catch up, and you're going to end up just snapping and going for the most energy dense foods. Yeah,
so for us, what we had encountered from people we've spoken to or ourselves or clients, and it's always leading to the restricting either specific foods or restricting your calories, which leads to a binge. So our best advice is number one, to make sure you're eating enough foods, make sure you're eating enough calories for your body, for your activity level, for you as a human being. We all require different energy needs, so figure out what is the best amount for you. And then on top of that, don't restrict your feel-good foods or your pleasure foods or your foods that you really want, the foods that you're craving. Instead of going for the packaged foods of those or the refined foods, like we said, incorporate that, create recipes of your whole foods, the whole foods that remind you of those foods, so you can satisfy that craving, and it can be super nutritious and delicious at the same time.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just make sure you plan and you have your foods on hand and go in with the right mindset, and everything should be good. So we hope you've enjoyed the video, everyone, and if you haven't subscribed to either of our channels, be sure to do that and like the video if you like it, and we'll see you in the next video, everyone. Bye.
Bye.